Each of us dream of acquiring a skill or two. This is necessary, since any kind of experience may require a certain level of skill. Unfortunately, there are skills which we lack, or we find it hard to master. However, although this may be the case, there's no need to worry, since there's a way for us to acquire these skills. In this book, The First 20 Hours by Josh Kaufman, we're taught strategies on how to learn any skill, even within a short span of time. Here are the top 7 lessons from the book The First 20 Hours by Josh Kaufman. Lesson 1. Break through the frustration barrier. At some point in time, we may feel disappointed about how unskilled we are. We may feel frustrated when no matter how much we try, we still cannot seem to learn the craft. And then we start to question ourselves, our capabilities, and perhaps believe that it will be useless to try to learn something we know we could never learn. When this happens, we've reached our frustration barrier. When we reach this point, instead of turning back, it would be better to move forward and go beyond the barrier. Perhaps what we need is an entirely new strategy that could help us finally learn the skill we wanted to have. Lesson 2. Focus on one skill at a time. Learning a new skill requires significant amounts of focus and effort. This means that it would be difficult to learn a skill if we try to learn 2 or more at the same time. We only have limited hours in each day, and if we divide those hours into learning more than one skill, the more that it would be difficult for us to devote our attention to one and learn it. The more that we switch from one task to another, the less learning would take place, and the more time it would take to learn it. What is suggested then is to select one skill to focus on at the moment and put all the rest on standby. Once we've learned the first one on the list, then we can start learning a new one. Lesson 3. Define your target. For us to be more motivated to learn a skill, we need to set a goal. When would we know that we've already acquired the skill? It's best to set a target, meaning we need to define what level of skill we aim to have. Our target should be very clear, specific, and of course realistic too. Imagining what we wish to do could help us define our target performance level, and once we're able to do so, we would be able to identify the actions we need to take in order to reach the target. Our target need not be the maximum level of performance. We could actually set initial targets, aiming for minimal levels first, and once we're able to hit it, we can then set another target by setting the bar higher. Our aim should not be just to learn the skill quickly, but to make sure that we are also able to do it well. Lesson 4. Be prepared. When we commit to learning a new skill, we should come prepared for the battle. This means that we do not just prepare physically and mentally, but we also need to make sure that we have all the resources that we need that could facilitate the learning process. What are the tools that we need to learn the skill? What kind of environment would be conducive for learning? We need to ask these questions and prepare them beforehand. Doing so can save us time, which we can devote to actual learning. Lesson 5. Eliminate barriers. When we actually start learning the skill, maintaining our concentration and motivation is the next challenge. We need to eliminate all possible sources of distraction that might get in our way. One possible source of distraction would be the lack of tools and resources, which would really be a problem if we don't prepare them beforehand. Another would be environmental distractions, like TV, phone calls, and emails. And most importantly are the emotional and psychological barriers that creep up within us from time to time. We may be distracted by our self-doubt, anxieties, and fears. Thus, we need to find a way on how we could eliminate these barriers, or perhaps find ways on how to manage the situation whenever they surface. Lesson 6. Dedicate a specific time for practice. One of the reasons people give whenever they're not able to learn or master a skill is that they can't find the time for it. This reason is actually unacceptable. We would really have difficulty finding time if we don't prioritize it. Therefore, instead of finding time, we need to make time for it. If we really want to learn the skill, we need to devote a specific time to it. We could start by keeping a log of the activities that we do in a day. After that, we could eliminate low-value activities and use the time to learn the skill instead. We only have 8 hours in a day, so we have to make sure that each second is spent on something valuable and worthwhile. What is suggested is to pre-commit to spending at least 20 hours of practice. The first few hours are the crucial parts. We're highly vulnerable at this stage, and our motivation could easily falter, but we just have to keep pressing on. Once we hit the 20-hour mark, we've already reached our momentum that could sustain us further. Lesson 7. Seek fast and accurate feedback. Another important ingredient in skill acquisition is feedback. Who would want to keep on practicing for months without receiving any feedback, right? When we get accurate and fast information regarding our performance, we would know our mistakes and make necessary improvements immediately. This could help us learn the skill more rapidly. Aside from getting feedback as soon as possible, we also need to make sure that we get accurate ones. Experienced coaches and mentors can provide reliable feedback regarding our performance. Aside from that, we can also use devices such as video cameras, computer devices, and other softwares so that we can monitor our own performance. The more sources of feedback, the more accurate it would be. In conclusion, the book provides us with the principles we need to keep in mind when learning and mastering a new skill. The strategies presented are backed by principles in learning and skill acquisition, so we could expect that it's really effective. Learning a skill is challenging, but it's not impossible. As long as we dedicate our time and effort and use the right strategies, then we could surely become skilled experts in no time. Thank you for listening. If you like the book summary and you want to see more in this category, please like and subscribe so I can create more. You can also get a free copy of the entire audiobook by clicking the link in the description. Until next time.